So back to the story, when Mordecai learned of this new decree to annihilate the Jews, he reached out to Esther. And Mordecai asked Esther, go to the king and plead for the mercy of your people. Chapter 4, verse 10, Esther told Hatak, which in this situation, he served as the messenger between Esther and Mordecai. She told him, go back and relay this message to Mordecai, verse 11. All the king's officials and even the people in the provinces know that anyone who appears before the king in his inner court without being invited is doomed to die, unless the king holds out his gold scepter. And the king has not called for me to come for 30 days. So Hatak gave the message to Mordecai. Verse 13, Mordecai sent this reply to Esther. Don't think for a moment that because you're in the palace, you'll escape when all the other Jews are killed. If you keep quiet at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews will arise from some other place, but you and your relatives will die. Who knows if perhaps you, Esther, were made queen for just such a time as this. Mordecai is saying, Esther, I know this is risky. I know you could die. But what if this is your time? What if this is the whole reason that you are in the palace? To go before the king in this moment and save the Jewish people. What if this is your moment? What if this is your time? Imagine, if you will, with me that this year Tom Brady's in the Super Bowl again. Now, I would say Kirk Cousins, but I know you guys, even being a people of great faith, don't have that much faith. So I thought I'd come up with a different example. So let's say Tom Brady. Now, luckily, Tom Brady's on a new team, for all you who hated the Patriots. He's on the Buccaneers. And they aren't doing so good, but don't count Tom out. So imagine Tom's back in the Super Bowl, and it's the fourth quarter, and there's 2 minutes left, and they're down 6 points, and they get the ball. And they have a chance to run the 2-minute drill, march down the field, and end this thing, and get another trophy, and go back to Disneyland. And the offense marches onto the field, and they're ready, they're pumped, but Tom's still sitting on the bench. Maybe he's a little old, a little tired. And he says, hey guys, you know what? I think I'm going to sit this one out. You know, I'm a little exhausted. It's been a long game. I think my phone might be buzzing. I'm going to go check my phone. See how my Twitter feed's doing. I got to kind of get home early today. I've had enough. And his teammates and his coaches are like, no, Tom, this is it, man. It's 2 minutes. This is the Super Bowl. You trained your whole life for this. We paid a lot of money for you. Tom, this is why you're here. Take the team down the field, score a touchdown, and then we can celebrate. And you have the whole offseason to relax and do whatever you want. But this is your time. It would be crazy for him in that moment to say no. No. It'd be crazy. Esther. This is why. How in the world, Esther, can a little Jewish girl with no mom and dad end up as royalty? How does that happen? You think that was a coincidence, Esther? You think it's just because you're good looks? Or maybe did God have a hand in it all? Maybe God had a purpose, and maybe your time is right now. Verse 15, then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai, go and gather together all the Jews of Susa and fast for me. Fast. They're wanting to seek the Lord. She's saying, get everyone you can to pray for me. And do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. My maids and I will do the same. And then though it is against the law, though it's illegal, I will go to see the king. And if I must die, I must die. Doesn't that have echoes of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Hey, Nebuchadnezzar, our God can save us. Our God can save us. But even if he doesn't, we will not bow. What we're seeing is the courage in the people of God, where most people would run, most people would give up, most people would bow, but the people of God see that God has a calling and a blessing on them. And even when the situations could not look worse, even when death was guaranteed, they would step in to the fire. See, she didn't have to risk her life. She could have just continued to live in luxury. But she risked everything. She risked everything. Verse 17, so Mordecai went away and did everything Esther had ordered him. Chapter 5. On the third day of the fast, Esther put on her royal robes and entered the inner court of the palace, just across from the king's hall. The king was sitting on his royal throne facing the entrance. When he saw Queen Esther standing there in the inner court, all the officials there would have said, okay, now we kill her. That's what we do. Someone comes before the king, uninvited, we kill them. It's a death sentence, unless he pardons her, unless he extends his scepter to her. And the king didn't kill her. The king didn't. Instead, he welcomed her. Why did he welcome her? He welcomed her because God was with her. God was with her. The God was orchestrating this moment. The story was already written. She just entered into it. And God had given her favor in the eyes of the king. And she had won over the king's heart long ago. And he welcomed her. And he held out the gold scepter to her. So Esther approached and touched the end of the scepter, and she was pardoned. Verse 3. Then the king asked her, what do you want, Queen Esther? It must be something huge for you to be willing to risk your life. What do you want? What's your request? I will give it to you, even if it's half of the kingdom. Anything you want. Why? Because through Esther, God had grabbed a hold of the king of Persia's heart.